Hello and welcome to Knowledge by Nature. We are going to take you on a day in a life with us. It may be a little bit dark at the moment because we're keeping it cozy this morning. It is a fall morning and we are going to spend some time doing some read alouds. We've got us both a little bit of apple cider this morning, and I actually have some pumpkin bread right here that I made, so I'm gonna kind of chow down on that. She's already had some, and so we are continuing our Chronicles of Narnia series. We've read the first two in the series, which are The Magician's Nephew and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Now we are starting The Horse and His Boy. So we're pretty excited to be getting back into this. Again, this is a little bit what our fall mornings are looking like recently. And before we get started, if this is your first time here, I am a homeschool mom to a fourth grader. We love all things books, homeschool, and sharing our journey with you. And if that is something that you are interested in, I would love if you consider hitting that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video today. Now, you noticed that I brought out my homeschool cart. This thing is amazing in the fall and the winter when we just want to like hang out on the couch all morning or all day, honestly. Everything's just kind of right there. And so, yeah, we're gonna get started doing a little bit of reading. She's in the floor over there playing with some horses, and we'll see how long we read, and we'll get back to you. It was nearly noon on the following day when Shasta was awakened by something warm and soft moving over his face. He opened his eyes and found himself staring into the long face of a horse. Its nose and lips were almost touching his. He remembered the exciting events of the previous night and sat up. On either hand, the coast stretched away, headland after headland, and at the points you could see the white foam running up the rocks, but making no noise because it was so far. There were gulls flying overhead, and the heat shivered on the ground. It was a blazing day. But what Shasta chiefly noticed was the air. Erebus immediately began sitting quite still and using a rather different tone and style from her usual one. For in Kellerman, storytelling, whether the stories are true or made up, is a thing you're taught, just as English boys and girls are taught easy writing. The difference is that people want to hear the stories, whereas I never heard of anyone who wanted to read the essays. All right, so that wrapped up a chapter for us, and so that was chapter 2, and I timed it just so you guys kind of had an idea of how long this was taking us, and so that was 24 minutes of reading. Now we're going to go ahead and start a little more of our independent reading. All right, I've been having her do some independent reading, and so we have this little Read and Learn Bible, and she has been reading this to me, and then that just gives her some practice reading out loud because she does do so much independent reading to herself. I think it's really good for her to like continue to practice reading out loud, and so she reads a few of these to me, and then a lot of times I will have her read our indescribable page for the day. So this is usually how we start our mornings, a read aloud and then some heart time here. And so what this is just a really quick little devotional, and it's very sciencey. So like yesterday we were learning about human cells. The day before that we were learning about fossils. And so there is a small devotional section to it, but honestly, the biggest chunk of it is some sort of scientific information, which is really cool. So which one do you want to start reading? That? All right, so let me sit this over here. We're still very cozy. You want to crawl over here? All right, I'll go ahead and start a timer on this too. That way you have an idea of generally how long we would spend on this.
Joseph and the Dreamer. Jacob lived in the land of Canaan. He had 12 sons. The oldest was Reuben. The youngest was Benjamin. Of all his sons, Jacob loved the one named Joseph best of all. When Joseph was 17, Jacob made a fancy coat for him, a coat of many colors. Here comes that dreamer. Joseph's brothers were out in the fields looking after the goats and sheep. They saw Joseph coming. It's time we taught him a lesson, his brother Levi said. When Joseph reached the camp, the brothers grabbed him. Joseph was not dead. He was alive in Egypt. The traders had sold him to a rich family. Joseph did very well there because God was with him. Joseph lived for many years in Egypt. God gave him success in whatever he did.
All right, so today we were actually talking about a planet that is made up of lots of diamonds. So that was really cool. So that is all of that reading for right now. And so that took us about 14 minutes for her to read those things to me. Now, we're actually starting to get a little bit of sunshine right now too, so things are brightening up. I'm gonna go ahead and open the planner here because I don't really look at it too much until we get done with our morning time, because that's kind of the same. I just have it jotted over here that those are the things that we do of a morning. Now, she hasn't done her independent reading yet, but I'm gonna assign that later. Now, how I have been planning this year, let me move this. All right, so how I've been planning this year is I've been utilizing the schedule over here at the side to jot down what I want to do. And then once we actually do whatever, I move it over into the day. And then that way I don't have to go through, I don't have to mark things out, things like that. So today I have that we are going to maybe be doing the spelling connections, although I think I'm going to change that. And then she's going to be doing some cursive and vocabulary. We have piano lessons later. But I think the next thing that we're going to do is just some of her independent work. And then I am going to get a few practice things set up for her. So going over here. All right, moving over here to the basket, I'm gonna have her go ahead and do her cursive. I'm gonna go ahead and have her do her cursive, which actually is a little bit of handwriting practice today. So she's going to copy this, and then she is going to do some connecting here. And I don't really know that we've done much connecting at this point. I don't really know that we've done a whole lot of connecting. Looks like we're just now kind of starting that. And so she's going to be connecting the letters that she has been learning to create words. And so she's going to be writing am and is, and then she copies the picture. And that's something I love about this, but I did not go ahead and get this one again, just because it was going to cost like $30 to get this thing shipped to me, and I don't think it's that good. So this is, we have just maybe so we only have like 4 more in this book, and then we're done and we'll be moving on to our next one. So I'm gonna have her work on that while I prepare this board, and I'll show you what I'm doing with that. So here you go, babe. This is a dry erase board. It's a big grid, as you can see. I got this from Jack and Link. I love this thing. We have been using this for math. We have been using this for spelling. I like this a lot. But one of the things that I have as like a little reminder is that I want to kind of have a math warm-up or something that we are practicing some facts with before we actually get started. And so what I did the other day is I created a math search. And then down here at the bottom, I would have her find those things. So for example, I would want her to find 7 times 3, and then she's got to find that somewhere. Now there is a few ways that you can do this. Is one, you can start with the math facts that you want to practice them and then just put a bunch of random numbers, or you can do a bunch of random numbers and then go back in and do the math facts. So I'm going to do that really quick, and then I'll show you the end product while she is doing her cursive. All right, so that gives you a little example. Is I've put out the ones that I'm going to have her practice. I've put those all around the board, and now I'm just going to go in and fill in a bunch of numbers. All right, so that was pretty good timing. I finished this up about the time that she finished her cursive. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and pass this over to her. I get a new marker. Gonna do a red today. And so she will find the answer, write it here, and then find that equation up here. So I'll pass this over to her and give you guys a look. while she is working on that, I went ahead and added all of the things that we have done so far. And then I have gone to our next thing of where we are going to be working with our spelling words. Now, I actually had her do some of these words yesterday. We are working with the aw sound of A-W and A-U. And I'm tying this in a little bit with all about spelling. So the only thing is that it doesn't have one that is just specifically for aw. We are also talking about how that sound is spelled with O, so soft. So it's sometimes difficult to kind of pull that out of there. So what I may do is go through here and highlight the ones where these would be used, the AW, but we don't have any AUs, but there's really not a ton of AUs either, so that's okay. So I'm going to go through here and highlight the ones that I'm going to have her do. In my cart, I keep my zebra liners in here for quick grabbing of things like this, and that way I don't have to like go look for everything. It's just on my cart. All right, so I went through and I highlighted the ones that I felt like went the best or that had the AW options, but we're also going to be using the Poppet. She did wrap this up about the same time that I finished, and so you can see this is what it looks like at the end. So we have 7 times 3 equals 21, and then she finds it up here. 7 times 3 equals 21. And this is just a really fun way for her to practice a few facts during the day, and it really doesn't take me too long to get it set up. It took her about 6 minutes and 36 seconds to complete all of that, which gave me plenty of time to get us ready for the next thing, which is our spelling. And let me show you here. So we're using All About Spelling, and we are on lesson or step 24, where we're talking about aw and ah, which are spelled with AW and AU. We talked about where we're going to use those at, and how when we hear the aw sound at the end, that we're almost always going to use AW, because English words do not end in AU generally. So we went through all of that. Monday and Tuesday we did some more practice, and so today we're going to use this Poppet over here, and I'm going to show you how we're going to use that. So this is just a multiplication Poppet that I have her pop the opposite side of. And I'm going to give her a word, and she is going to sound out the words and pop it for each one. Now, the word may have 4 letters, but she should only pop 3, because AW or AU is a vowel team, which means that it is making one sound. And that is just one of the ways that this program works. All right, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, spell the word dawn. Okay, crawl. Okay, so you said where did you start? So dawn. Okay, okay, good job. Do it on this line so I can see for sure what Poppet's popped. Looks like we got an extra Poppet there. All right, ready? Hawk. Good job. Yawn. Very good. Auto. Saw. August. Good job. Aunt. Okay, and tell them about aunt. What is aunt?
Aunt, if you pronounce it like aunt, it doesn't rule break, but if you pronounce it like aunt, it's a rule breaker.
That's right. So we have this jail in this level, and we have what is called rule breakers, which are words that just don't really follow the rule that we're talking about. And so a lot of times it will go over different dialects, how certain areas of the United States, or whoever is using this for English, it says that most Americans are going to pronounce aunt like ant, like the little bug. And if it is used like that, it's a rule breaker because AU is not saying the sound that it is supposed to. However, other dialects are going to go ahead and say aunt, and it's not a rule breaker with that. And so with her, she uses aunt instead of aunt, and therefore it wasn't really a rule breaker for her, but she is aware that people say aunt, and she also uses it sometimes, but most of the time she is going to say aunt. But if it is used as aunt, she remembers that it is a rule breaker, but it is spelled like aunt. And I really do like that it has that, just depending on where you live, there are different dialects that go along with that. Now that she's practiced some of the words with her poppet, I am going to go ahead and give her this one. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to do the ones that I've highlighted here, okay? So these are the words that you're going to use. But you're going to use the aw, where we are using AW. So follow is to rule, as obey is to... And so you're going to have to find one of these that go along with follow is to rule, as obey is to, and you fill that in, okay? Down here, you're going to use antonyms, remember? So we have synonyms and antonyms. Synonyms are the same. Antonyms are
different.
Opposite. So I get up at sunset to jog on the beach at, and then you will...
Dawn.
Yup, exactly. And then right here, you're going to have to use some clues, okay? You're going to use a spelling word to figure out what's going to go there. All right, she finished up this section right here where she was using the spelling words to complete the sentences. And that took her about 5 minutes, maybe just a little bit less than that. And then she took a quick break to eat a little snack. And so while she did that, I created this in her little 4th grade notebook. We've been talking a lot about adjectives, one through our Jivey Mentor text, which if you follow us on Instagram, you may have seen us using that. And then we were also just using these little worksheets right here from a Evan Moore workbook that I had from grade 3. And then we've used different sheets from our guest Hollow to talk about adjectives. And so I created this little thing, which I saw on Pinterest, and it talks about adjectives and how adjectives describe a noun, right? And it can do that by telling us about a noun, what color, the size, how many. And so I have all that right here. And so now over here, what I think I'm going to have her do is just write a few things that would have an adjective in it. So what I may do is I'm going to go ahead and write a few sentences because I am going to have her do a writing assignment today. So I don't want to overload the writing. Honestly, let's just do this today. We have how many, and so I'm just going to have her do this last sheet here with our Evan Moore worksheet where she is using adjectives of how many, and so she'll circle the words that tell how many, and then on this section she's going to use words that tell how many in each of the blanks. So I have this made for if I want to use it tomorrow or a different day, but since it is going to be a little bit of a heavier writing day, I'm not going to have her write a bunch of sentences in this today, but we have been using this for just different things: spelling, history, drawing. You can see we did that the other day where we did a drawing of a scarecrow, and then I had her write a sentence over there. But yeah, that's what we're going to do now is I'm going to have her do this, and I'll get that noted into my planner as I prepare for the next thing. All right, so we have taken a little break. You can see she's over here playing with lots of horse characters. And so while she did that, it gave me some time to get ready for our next thing. Now, I had been printing everything off and having it ready to go, but I failed to do that for this week. You can see here we were using, this is for our history, by the way. We have been doing a lot of notebooking along with our history, and we are using core knowledge to talk about all the explorers and everything before we start our early American history. That just kind of jumped right in to a little bit more than I wanted right away. I kind of wanted to talk about those that explored the area, those that were there beforehand. And so that's what we've been doing. And so what we're going to do is I have both the teacher's manual and the student guide downloaded on my tablet here. And so I am able to reference this. And so what we will do is it comes with a reader. And so we will read the story out of the student reader. And then what I use the teacher guide for is I go in there and I pull out some questions that I write over here in her School Nest notebook. So that gives me kind of an idea on what maybe I want to pull, or maybe some of these I might ask her verbally, and then I will have her answer some questions here. Now, I always try to print off a few images to kind of bring the whole thing together, and that is where she will cut those out, paste those images over here, and then these two blue post-it notes are I want her to do a vocabulary word, which we will find within our lesson, and then I have a question here that's sort of like a vocabulary word as well that she will write on that. We've done it a little bit of different ways. Sometimes I will have her just write the definition in there somewhere. Other times we will use these little sticky notes, especially if I'm planning at the beginning of the week. I will put these in here just so that I remember what to do, and then she might do a little drawing on it. Let's see, I know she did that the other day. Yes, conquistador. So she said a person who conquers, and you can see she did a little drawing with that to kind of go along with our lesson. And so that is what we are going to get started now. I gotta get myself a drink, but we're gonna read those things together, and then we'll go through all of these questions and have our history done for the day. All right, so here you can see I just have it pulled up on my tablet, and we had been working on chapter 4 last week, where we were talking about Spanish North America. And so this is the reader. You can see it's very, very colorful. We have the vocabulary that runs along the side. And so we had read all of this last week, and then we are going to start here today, where it is the Southwest and California. Now, she's actually still over there playing, but generally she does a really good job of listening while we go, and that just is fine with me. As long as she's listening and is able to answer the questions at the end, that's no big deal. Other times I do have her sit here kind of like following along with me. She could definitely read most of this if she wanted to, but you can see this is kind of what we're going to be reading today, and then we will stop at chapter 5 where we begin exploring for England. But we're going to wrap this up this week, and I don't really know how many chapters. I feel like we're getting to the end. We've got chapter 6. Yep. And so we just have 2 more chapters left of this study here before we will go ahead and move in to our history. If you want to know what we're going to be using, I'll put that right here. Again, it's early American history, but I just wanted to delve a little bit deeper into kind of exploring America before we just jumped into America. And so today we are talking about the revolts that happened when the Pueblo were already in the area. And so we had the Spanish coming over and things were happening, and that's what we're going to be talking about. All right, one of the other things that we have been using a lot this year is the History Timeline Notebook by School Nest. And we were reading along through here, and it pointed out that one of the settlements that was settled during this time was the San Antonio de Valero, which today is known as the Alamo, and it was founded in 1718. So because I know we're going to get to the Alamo later, I want to go ahead and note when that was founded. That way, as we're kind of looking through this and as we progress, that's just some fun things to kind of look back on and see like, oh yeah, we already learned that that was founded in that year. And so what I'm going to have her do is find 1718 in the timeline and add that San Antonio de Valero was founded. And then I'm going to have her put like a little parentheses of the Alamo, and that way we can look back on this at a different time. So I will have her do that, and then I will continue to read through this. All right, the sun is coming through pretty hard at the moment, so hopefully you're able to kind of see all of this. We've been working on this for roughly 30 32, 35 minutes, something like that at this point. And so we read through everything and we did a lot of adding into our timeline here. And so that took some time because we had quite a few entries into the timeline, and then we just really discussed. And then we also discussed quite a few of the questions that she's going to be answering over here. So we did a lot of history timeline entries, and now she is answering the questions that are in there. We're working on like correct sentence structure, things like that while we're doing this. So it's kind of doubling up. Now we do not do history every day. Usually I try to hit it 2 times a week. If I hit it once, then that's for sure good, but I do like to hit it twice. I think this week we're only hitting it once, but we are spending a little bit more time on that. So she has these pictures. We talked about the Pueblo Revolt, and we have like a little image of the Pueblo area as well as Popey, the Native American Pueblo that led the revolt. So she's going to paste that into her notebook along with writing all of the answers there. Now, while she's doing that, I'm going to look on YouTube to see if I can find a video to go with this. And if we're able to do that, we'll write that in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start writing our history in here. And then it is almost noon. And so I have to stop at 1 o'clock for a meeting. And so we'll see what we can get done. See how long this takes her to do her little notebooks over here. And then we'll see what we can get done after that. All right, let's see here. We have 53 minutes that we spent on history today. So that included her doing all of her notebooking, which had quite a bit of writing in it. And then she did the definitions here with a few little illustrations, things like that. And then we found 2 videos on YouTube that we ended up watching. Now, the things that I want to get finished for the rest of the day is we definitely need to do dimensions. And so with that, it is actually a practice day, and we have been including that a lot this year. Is we are doing the practice days, we're doing the test, all those sort of things this year. But I only pull out a few every single day. And so what I have done for today is she is going to estimate the value and then divide. And so this is actually some graph paper that you can print off of Singapore Math. And it is on their Blackline Masters. And so I just print that off because it's so much easier to keep everything lined up. Now, honestly, when we're sitting together and we're doing work, I have her use our board here, but since she'll be doing this and then I'll come back and grade it, I have her do it on this separate sheet of paper. So she will estimate here and then write the little estimation over here, and then she will do the actual long division over on this sheet, and then that way we can see how close was our estimation compared to the actual answer. Then I am going to have her come over here and do a word problem. And so she will do, let's see, I've got 6 questions on the division where she's doing estimation and then the division. And then I will have her do probably number 2 and 3 of our word problem. And that will be dimensions today. Now, she also has piano lessons later, which she will be doing. And then we will also do something with our write by number. So those are the 2 things. She's already done quite a bit of independent reading with me this morning. So I don't know that I'll have her do that just because it's a beautiful fall day outside. And I think we're going to go enjoy that this afternoon. So right now, we're going to take a little break, I think, because I have about 30 minutes. And so we may just have lunch together. And then I'll have her do some work. So we'll catch back up with you. All right, we are just finished up with dimensions math here, and this took about 50 minutes to do all the estimation on these 6 here and then these right here. So you can see she did all of her work here. On this side, this was all of these, and then this was all of the word problems. So that is why I definitely take down the number of word problems and just the amount of work, period, honestly. There's just no way you assign all of this, I don't think. And I mean, this is just the practice. We have practice in our workbook too, which we're not going to do today. But this is it for today. So I think 50 minutes is plenty of time to work. And just a note, I really like long division because they're just practicing so many math concepts in long division. So I think long division is just a great practice to kind of keep all those skills really, really working well. But she did fantastic on that. And so we will continue practice again tomorrow. All right, so that is it for math. The only other thing I'm gonna for sure have us be doing is we are going to do our write by number. She has piano starting in, I think, yes, 30 minutes. So I think we're gonna do just like a quick brain break on the YouTube, and then we are going to finish up with our write by number. And then if she wants to do any independent reading before piano, she can, because it's a really good story right now that she's reading to me, so she may want to do that. If that's the case, we will do that, and then we are done for the day. So I will get that all wrote into the book. You know what? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to show you write by number. So yes, we're going to take a brain break, and then we're going to jump back with you, and I'm going to show you write by number, and then we'll likely be done for the day. We decided to do a Cosmic Kids yoga together, and we just finished it, but we were like 5 minutes in, something like that, and it was going so fast. I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on? And I forgot I had changed like the setting button over there, and it was like 1.25. So we were like doing some super speedy yoga, but then we slowed it down and we finished it. This is a really good one. Honestly, I love to do this one with her because it's just a good way to stretch your body. You've been working all day and it just feels good. They're funny. She does all sorts of different ones. But yes, Cosmic Kid Yoga on YouTube. We love it. And so now we have done some yoga, and now we are going to go wrap up with write by number before piano starts. And so we've got about 15 minutes to get that done, and I think we can do it. So we're going to actually move into the kitchen table. All right, so this is the notebook that we use for writing. It's just a cute little binder that she's had forever, and so I have our write by number information in here. Now, write by number is something I recently found not very long ago, and we used the 14-day free trial. Sorry, my puppy sees I'm in here and wants to be joining us. But it has a 14-day free trial, and it's actually good from like first grade all the way through high school. So if I am to purchase it, it's going to stick with us for a really long time. But what it is you pretty much are using this progress of one power sentence, and then you move on to 2 secondary power sentences, and now we are on stage 3, where it's called a 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. And what she's doing is she is using some of the work that she has already done to create a 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. So here's an example, and something else that's kind of cool with this one is she requests that you do it in pen. One, it slows the student down, and they kind of are better to make less mistakes if they know they're going to have to rewrite it. So any mistakes, we go back and edit it. Any mistakes that occur in the first paragraph, we rewrite it. If there's mistakes there, we would rewrite it again. So today we're going to pull this one right here. We're going to pull one that we have already done, and she's going to make this. This was a 1, 2, 2, and she's going to make this a 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. These are my 2 favorite things to do. First is to ride horses, and now she will add a 3rd power sentence to that. And here's just some examples. So here it was, I have 2 toys. First, I have a doll. She has blonde hair. Second, I have a ball. It is bright blue. So that's just some example, and then here are some signals that you could like. For example, first is to ride horses. Although this one, I think we actually needed to fix that up because we were missing a subject here. So really it should have been, first, I like to ride horses, because we don't have a subject and a predicate there. So that really needed corrected. But I didn't catch it the first day because I was really, really excited because we only had 1 correction that day with this comma, and I totally overlooked the fact that we didn't get a subject there. So maybe this isn't the best example. I wonder. Let me look around for a minute. All right, so looking back, she's actually just going to make a new one today. And so we just have all this really pretty colored paper that we like. And so she has certain things that she has to do. What are those things that you have to do before you start writing?
You have to add the date.
All right, go ahead and say that again. What do you have to do to your paper here before you begin?
You have to add the date. You have to make
An indentation.
Yep, an indentation.
All right, so remember, today is actually, what is today's date? The 8th? 11/8?
Yeah.
Yep, 11/8. So you are going to do a 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. And remember, each sentence needs a subject and a predicate, okay? And then each sentence needs proper punctuation and usage of commas. So you go ahead and start working on that, okay? All right, she went ahead and had to go on up to piano lessons, and so I am editing her thing. One idea is, one, you're not the bad guy if you do it this way either, is you can type in word for word how they did it into Grammarly, which is completely free, and it will show you the edits and things like that, which can be really helpful if you want to take the editing process out of your hands. Like, you're not the one doing it. They can see where their mistakes are like that. But what I've done is, this is far from perfect, but we're working on it, and so that's okay. So I have the editing guide, and so we circle the misspellings, we underline where things need to be capitalized, things like that. We have where we remove. So there's quite a few corrections that are having to happen today, but that's okay because she did a 1, 2, 3, 2, 3 all the way from the beginning. Where yesterday we took a 1, 2, 2 and added a 3 to it. And so she didn't have to edit those first few because it was already done for her. So when she gets done with piano, she will come back and she will rewrite and correct all of these mistakes. This was a good time to talk about how the article here, we should have used an because it is following a vowel, and we've been working on that a little bit. And so I like that we can talk about proper nouns, capitalization, commas, apostrophes. We can talk about all of those sort of things while we're also doing this. Another thing I really, really like about Write by Number is that we have utilized it a lot when we're notebooking. So we didn't today while we were working with our history, but we have been doing that a lot. So if we're studying something for science and we're doing the rock cycle or something like that, I might have her do a 1, 2, 3 paragraph or something like that. Now we just started stage 3. And so we're going to be on that for a little bit. And that's one of the things that it says, is that it gives you kind of an idea of what needs to happen before you would move on to the next one. And so she needs to be able to write a 1, 2, 3, 2, 3 really seamlessly before we move on to level 4. So she really needs to understand get that subject and predicate on each sentence, and then just kind of making the whole thing flow more cohesively. But otherwise, we've really, really seen a lot of big improvements with this. I like how we can address a lot of things in it. And so I am likely going to buy Write by Number. But we are going to just continue to do this for a few more weeks because with Thanksgiving and all that kind of stuff, I just want to keep going with what we've got going right now. And then we will pick up something else. I also know IEW is a great, great program. So there's also IEW, which I have looked at so much. But the only thing that concerns me with that one is how I think it is a lot video based. And she does not thrive or love video based teachings when that is solely what is done. Beast Academy, I loved that program. I thought that was incredible. It had the comic books, all that kind of stuff. She didn't dig it. The Singapore Dimensions Math, really, really, really like that. She likes it too, but if that's all we did, I don't think she would like it. Like, she wants me to be the teacher when she is learning. CTC Math, that's something that we tried forever ago. Hated that. Night Zookeeper, we've tried that. Like, she is not a huge app-based. Now, she loves games. It's not that she doesn't love games. She loves games and being on the computer and things like that. But when it comes to actually teaching, she wants that face-to-face most of the time. So that is something I'm just not sure. But I know IAW has like a free trial. I might try it this December. We'll see. But we're for sure really, really liking the write by number, but it's a big investment. And so that is why I want to go ahead and try one more before I go ahead and jump in and spend a lot of money. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and update for today. We've done dimensions. I'm going to go ahead and put that we did write by number because she's done quite a bit of it. Piano, she is doing that currently. And then if we do anything else for the day, I will write that down. But I guess we will probably be done because it is just getting later into the afternoon. We've knocked all of our big stuff out. And so unless she just specifically asked to draw or something like that, we're good. I hope that you have enjoyed this day in the life with us. It's been a while since we shared our day, and I feel like this is a rather accurate fall day in the life. Yes, we had piano lessons today that we don't normally have, but usually that time gets taken by something anyways. And so this is pretty accurate on what our fall has looked like. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them down below. I love to interact with you. If you're not following me on Instagram, you can check me out there. Otherwise, consider hitting that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.